Hi, everyone. My name's Katie Richards, and welcome back to another episode of MHEDA Talks. Today, I'm here with Daniel McKinnon, who's the Chief Exhibitions Officer at MHI, and me and Daniel today are going to talk all about MODEX 2026 and what you can expect from one of the best trade shows in material handling, industry, and history. Daniel, how are you doing today?
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I'm excited to talk to you.
I'm always excited to talk to you, and I know you said you just got back from Germany, and
Yes.
I appreciate you taking time to jump on, even though you might be jet lagged.
I'm jet lagged and I've got schnitzel, like schnitzel mood, which means I guess like I ate so much, pork and beer over there. I'm trying to like remotivate myself.
You know what? I think you're right. A diet of schnitzel really just sets you up for success. So
It does. It does. Every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
excellent. Awesome. Well, let's jump into it. Tell me, what is new at MODEX this year?
We have quite a number of new activations and new topics. And I think some of the most exciting things that would be new to an attendee are some of the features on the show floor that we are providing. There's some new theaters. One's an MHI industry group theater, and that's based on MHI's industry groups like the robotics group or CSS, or there's a number of these industry groups that are providing educational content on the show floor in that theater. So that's actually really exciting. And then we have a supply chain resiliency theater, an emerging tech theater, a startup pavilion and theater. Now, the startup pavilion is not new. However, it is, we have continued to refine it. And we'll have 14 qualified startups. They're still in the startup phase. And they will all have an opportunity to present themselves and their products and services in the startup theater. And then Tuesday afternoon, there's a happy hour, and we announced the three the three finalists will also have a chance to give their final pitch. And after that, the winner is announced at Industry Night, along with some other cool things. All of the Innovation Award winners will be announced at Industry Night. And Jim Gaffigan will be the comedian at Industry Night. That's Wednesday night. So that's new, and that's pretty exciting. In addition to the Industry Night with Jim Gaffigan, which again we are excited about, and we'll continue to do the trip of a lifetime, the $30,000 holiday incentive or prize, which is always fun. But we have this year, we have the backyard, which we've had in the past. But this year we have something in Hall A called Peachtree Social, and it's really a large, dynamic lounge that will feature several different opportunities for attendees to have a moment of repose and relaxation while instead of just walking around the show floor constantly. The backyard will have puppy petting and a couple of more upscale food options. And then the Peachtree Social will have a golf simulator, a foosball table, much more upscale, Southern-focused types of meal opportunities. So those are things that are new. And in addition to that, I think what continues to be new and what continues to be exciting is just the tremendous scale. We are completely sold out of exhibit space. We have 630,000 sold square feet of exhibit space on the show floor. That's a lot. And in addition, with the theaters and all of the other activations that we're doing, it's going to be a really great opportunity for people in this industry to network, engage, business development, personal development, all kinds of things over the 4-day event. And one thing that is now new and about to be old is this will be the last 4-day show. MODEX and ProMat are both switching to a 3-day schedule as opposed to a 4-day show. And that's just based on the feedback that we got. And then I'm sorry, I'm babbling here, but some really, I think, noteworthy other additions that are new-ish. The MODEX Women in Supply Chain will be on April 13th. That's exciting. And I think that actually MHEDA is one of the co-producers of that. So that's always exciting. And then the Young Professionals Network continues to grow and grow and grow. That's on the evening of April 13th. And I already mentioned the startup. I think that's really significant and something that's of great value to the attendees.
Oh, absolutely. I'm excited. So, interesting that when you talk about the startup, I think when we talked last year, that was one of the biggest things that you noticed was how many more startups were starting to join at MODEX. And so, I think that says a lot when it comes to technology and AI and how many, people are craving more of that. So, congrats on that. When I say I'm most excited to see MHEDA members, I am. And then I'm really excited to enjoy some gumbo and pet some puppies because I think that was really high up on my list
Yes,
before. And so,
good.
um, excellent, excellent. So you said over 600,000. Did I hear that right? Of square?
630,000 square feet of exhibits. That's
Wow.
that's actual booths. So it's large. Well, we have just around 1,100 exhibiting companies,
Mhm.
and some of those companies are in 10 by 10s, and it just depends on what their message is in, and some are in
Yep.
10,000 square feet. So it's
Yeah.
got two stories, and it's you see the whole variety of people trying to promote their products and services to this community. And yeah, it's exciting.
Very much. Attendee wise, how many attendees do you expect this year?
So we'll have just over 50,000 registered, and we usually get about a 75% to 80% show up rate because it's free to attend. We also have been much more diligent this year in qualifying people and determining whether or not they are an appropriate attendee. We have invested heavily in a program to identify, qualify, and bring certain international regions. We really focus on Canada and Mexico, and obviously we're facing some headwinds with some of the the news cycle, and just everything. It's never easy, but we are confident that our Canadians and Mexican community members will be at MODEX.
Excellent. Actually, you almost really answered my second question, which obviously, so between international companies and tech companies, that sounds like a big focus. But have you been surprised by any new type of company that's been really interested in MODEX 2026? Any uptick of specific company you're seeing?
Yes, and I wouldn't really call them a qualify. I mean, it's not that they're not qualified. They're not our they're not our members' primary customer. However, we are seeing a ton of venture capital um,
Mm.
and financial institutions coming into, with great interest in the show, and trying to get more involved. They're not member potential, so they can't exhibit, and they're not, a distribution center or a warehousing organization or a 3PL. So they're not, your classic member customer, but they do provide value. And, especially for the startups, people are looking for funding. And, as long as it doesn't become an overwhelming amount of non-buyer attendees, then, we're excited about it. But I've seen a lot of that, a lot more of that, and they ask a lot of questions and a lot of things we can't do for them. And we so yeah, I think that's the primary category. Automation continues to just push forward, in a crazy uh, tailwind of momentum.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of automation, and one of the things that we address within MHI is workforce development and all of that, and how does that align with automation. So I think that's a really big topic that is going to be addressed at MODEX. And then yeah, so other than the venture capitalists, I think it's more your standard intralogistics company that is continuing to build momentum in this community at MODEX and from it.
Yeah, well, and it also sounds like with your new, or not necessarily new, but with your enhanced qualifying best practice that you're really able to suss out when it comes to a venture capitalist who's really in it for the long game, who's here to
Yes.
provide value and give back because I think we face that same trend and associations are all about giving back. So it's great to hear that you guys are taking that seriously. And then also it's cool to hear that we have a lot of newcomers to MODEX. So being newcomers, tell me, any advice for first time exhibitors?
For first-time exhibitors, we really encourage them to participate in our exhibitor education and marketing program, Show Pro, that takes place a few months before the show. We had it this year in Atlanta in December, and it's 2 days. It doesn't cost anything to attend. It's 2 days of really invaluable information on how to succeed with your exhibit. It's not that we don't just talk about ROI. We talk about all kinds of brand marketing and opportunities, both from operational and marketing and business development context. So that's really important. And we do archive those in our exhibitor resource center. I think that's extremely important for a first-time exhibitor to understand who the audience is going to be and how to take advantage of it. And then, because we obviously are we are in it for their success. So, and then what's also really important is not to ignore the requirements and the deadlines for all of the operational tasks that must be fulfilled. If you are shipping, make sure you have shipped to the correct location and on time. Make sure you've ordered all of the labor you need. Make sure you have all the materials, furniture, resources that you need. You can't just show up and start ordering things. That would be an absolute disaster. So you have to plan it, well in advance. And I would also encourage, and it's too late for this though, I would also encourage people to take advantage of the sponsorships. And a 10 by 10 can get as big of a sponsorship as any of the as a Dematic or Raymond or whomever. They just have to invest in. And I think those sponsorships are great investment, again, for ROI and also for branding. So that's for a new exhibitor. You really just can't show up and expect to have success. You have to plan it and market. And then both for exhibitor and attendees, I highly recommended diving into, this is, I would say, not new, but it's definitely improved. Our mobile app provides everything that an attendee or an exhibitor would require in the palm of their hand. It has become so really sophisticated enough to help with the experience of an attendee and an exhibitor by giving all the details that one needs and providing we have for the first time, a My Show Planner feature that allows them to not only, record if they want to go to one of the keynotes or they want to go to a specific session, they can, automatically add that into the My Show Planner, but they can also reach out and try to schedule meetings with other groups that have opted in. So it's very helpful and something that should certainly be utilized.
Absolutely. I'm going to have to probably now I'm going to look into that show planner. We have around 120 of our members who exhibit, and I always want to make sure I can stop by everybody.
Yeah.
But then of course there's there's a lot of other companies that I want to connect with. And sometimes when you're there, it can be overwhelming. So I like that advice. I think, hearing too about Show Pro and really that it's meant to maximize your experience. It's so valuable to talk about. It shouldn't feel transactional. It shouldn't feel like, hey, I go up to this trade show, I gather X amount of leads, and then I look at the ROI. I mean, it is really more when you're trying to build a relationship. And so I can really appreciate having that prep time to really learn what type of, energy you're supposed to come to with the event. Now, right. You did kind of mention it, but I know there's going to be a lot of first-time attendees, first-time exhibitors. Mm-hmm. It's amazing that you've sold out the show. If someone was going to really maximize their experience with MODEX, what's one piece of advice that you would leave them with?
To plan accordingly. I mean, I might have already mentioned that, but I think that with the mobile app, which is available now, you can download it now. I think it's super important to plan your experience, as much as possible. You do want to leave some time to ramble, for the serendipity, I call it, to just, discover something new, because you will, if you just, you have appointments, you have meetings, you have a schedule, you have things that you want to do and things you want to see, but it's really important to also set aside some time to just kind of walk down the aisles and see what what you run into, because you will run into something interesting. You will run into someone interesting. And I think that that's very important.
So be intentional and plan for the serendipitous moments as well that we
Correct.
know happen.
Yes.
Excellent. Daniel, I'm really excited to see you and the whole MHI team in Atlanta. This year MHEDA has a new location. So rather than being on the show floor, we're going to have one of those B rooms the entirety
right.
of the show. And it's really more of, again, it's a destination, it's a lounge. It's when you've had enough time on the show floor and, you need to kick up your feet and have a minute, you'll be able to come to MHEDA's booth. So for everyone listening, MHEDA's room is B210. Of course, maximize your time on the show floor. And then when you need to take a minute, you can hang out with MHEDA members in the MHEDA lounge. So that goes for you too, Daniel. I hope to see you there.
Perfect. Well, you're right down you're just a couple of doors down from the MHI office. So I'm sure we'll run into each other. Perfect.
That feels like a good home for us.
See you guys. Yes.
Awesome. Well, Daniel, I'm really excited. I know you have a lot to prepare before the show, but we will see you there. And thanks for being on MHEDA Talks.
Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you.